No. All right, so I'm going to give it a couple seconds. And then... All right, we got people on. We are on. Okay.
Great.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us tonight. This is the Angryprepper, and this is Pinball Preparedness. Again, Pinball, thank you for joining us tonight. Being that tomorrow night looks like it's going to be a busy night for all of us. So tonight should be an interesting night as far as this conversation goes, because you. I brought you on the show because you are level-headed. No, I was gonna say old, but I said no. I want to say you're level-headed, so you make a lot of sense, which is good. And the video that caught my eye about martial law, that was really good. So, other than that, guys, let's start out with the basic. What's going on, Austin? How do we look and how do we sound? Now, of course, we got to give them a couple seconds to catch up with that.
And I guess I'll chime in if everybody can hear me well too. So.
Right. Okay. Good. I think you're fine as far as audio, but.
Well, thank you.
Well, hair is fine. All right. Good. Good. Hello from upstate. And then they usually they pop up and then they flood in. Tony, thank you for the donations. I appreciate it. Thank you. Proper Nation, Upstate. I wonder. So 200 people are watching. AP, good. They said one person said your volume is low, but just speak up. Yeah, just speak up a little more, and you should be fine.
All right, I'll yell at you.
All right, that'll work too.
You're used to it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, everyone says the sound is good. Sounds good on both. All right, so it varies from people to people. Whatever, fuck it, doesn't matter. The show must go on. Let's see. So, obviously, my first question is, because it's been not driving me crazy, but I'm curious as to where did you get the name Pinball Preparedness?
It was actually my code name in the Army. Pinball was.
No shit.
And I just added the preparedness part to it. So.
What was your MOS in the Army, or your job?
97 Echo. I was an interrogator.
No shit.
No shit.
Oh shit.
Oh. Cold War, moving chess keys. So I was a Czech linguist interrogator during my time in the Army from 85 to 93.
No kidding. See, when you said that was your code name in the Army, I was like, he's got an interesting gig. I know he does. You don't come up with names like that, code names like that, unless you have an interesting gig. So that's pretty cool. So you said till 93. So I think you've been out for a long time then. Very good.
Remember?
Huh? No.
I'm old. Remember?
Yeah. Listen, I get a kick out of it, but I think Prepper Nation gets a bigger kick out of it than
you bunch of chops too.
Yeah. and we're probably not far behind you, but so. Question: what made you? And this is going to be an old question. Being that you're older, what made you want to start a YouTube channel?
I've been hardcore prepping for the better part. Well, it'll be 2 years, I guess, tomorrow, since the 2018 election. And so I'd watched your channel, some of the other ones, and I finally got fed up listening to all these guys, either just infomercials every other day, you've got to buy this product or you've got to buy that product, or just listening to complete BS coming out of their mouths, like they were Billy Badass somewhere, you've got to do this, and, thumping their chest. And it's like, no, okay, I couldn't buy into anything they were saying. And there were some good channels out there and some that were absolute garbage. And I won't say who, but there was one channel that I watched, and it was last Christmas that I put out my first couple of videos. And I was just absolutely sick at what this guy said. And I'm like, okay, somebody's got to get out there and start speaking the truth, because if too many people are listening to the bullshit that's coming out of this guy's mouth, we're going to have a lot of problems with people.
Very good. You know why? Because the opposite brought me on to YouTube. So that's interesting that you took a stance of you got tired of the BS. Maverick, how you doing? I know you're watching. It's my son watching this. He seems to like the live streams. But anyway, and that's good that you took a stance against the bullshit. And you're right, man. There's a lot of dudes out there that are playing Billy Badass, and I'm like, it's frustrating because you can see right through the bullshit. And I am by no means a Billy Badass. So some people I think I am, if that makes any sense. I absolutely don't. But knowing that you were an interrogator, I have an idea of what you can see in people and what you can't, just by the way people speak, habits, the way they move. So that being said, you're probably one of the more realist preppers on this channel, because you can identify bullshit and you see it from a mile away. So that is pretty damn good. So I'm not impressed by a lot of people. I tell you that right now. I am impressed with what you just told me, because I know what that entails, and I don't know what that entails, if that makes sense. So you've been prepping, you said, for 2 years.
I've been hardcore. I'll give you this as a quick story.
Okay.
The 2018 election, midterm elections last time around, we were living in Las Vegas, and Nevada completely flipped from red to blue, okay, to the point where we got a felon in as our governor. The senator that they kicked Dean Heller out and brought in Jackie Rosen. I mean, she's about as left as Kamala Harris. And then the congressman that we elected in Clark County was a philanderer who cheated on his wife so many freaking times. And I looked at my wife, I said, we're getting the hell out of here. This place is turning into California instantly. And so we literally could go, my daughter's in college, so it didn't matter. So it's just the two of us. And we're like, okay, we can look anywhere in the country we wanted to look. And literally we looked at Idaho, Montana, Indiana, Kentucky, North Carolina, Georgia, the Ozarks, both Missouri and Arkansas, and finally found the property we wanted here in Tennessee. And I was like, okay, we've got the land, we've got the house, we're away from where we need to be. Let's get everything stocked up and full-blown going.
Very good. So, okay. Well, listen, it's good to full steam ahead with prepping. And that's what at least it sounds to me. I mean, it took me years to get to here, but it's good that you had the wherewithal to do it as fast as you did. And
yeah, I mean, we like I said, it was election night of 2018, and we landed in Tennessee April Fool's Day of 2019. So, wow. 5 months, 6 months from making the decision to looking all over the country to finding the house to moving.
Nice. Andrew Julian, Prepping for Life. Thank you for joining me tonight. Guys, real quick, you should head over to his channel. I've been checking out his videos probably the last couple of days. The guy has a different view on prepping and going about how to prep. And it's pretty cool, and it's just another angle to watch somebody from. So if you can head over to his channel and check his videos out, and if you like his videos, subscribe to him. But I'm a fan of him right now. I'm a fan of a lot of people I've interviewed so far. But this guy's pretty good. I like what I'm hearing with him. So, what inspired you to prep?
Same thing. The election completely turning. I mean,
really?
If you want to talk about the disaster, if you will, I was preparing for, it was political. I mean, strictly political. I saw the writing on the wall 2 years ago, the way the country was going, and I'm like, this is not going to end good. And pretty much everything I figured is going to happen over the last 2 years has.
Yeah, and you know, it's it's funny because a lot of this shit that happened, I remember calling it years ago, and being young as I am, I not that I'm 43 is young. It's not, but when I started and I started looking at signs of things, I'm like, politicians are playing to the smaller parties, and that's a huge problem. When you have the majority of people that think one way, but you have a small, minute group of people that you're focusing on, and you're ignoring the bigger group, there's an issue. And we're seeing it unfold right now. We're seeing it with this election and people attacking the president, and people putting other politicians who should be in jail on a pedestal. I think it's
You've just described the media in a heartbeat. Okay, when's the last time? I mean, you've been on the news. Okay, but when's the last time anybody that's watching this has been on the news? We live our nice quiet lives and don't do anything. It's the lunatics out there who are on the news every day because that's what sells advertising. The guy going about his normal day, getting up, going to work, coming home, eating dinner, watching TV, and going to bed. We don't make news, so there's no excitement there. And so the more you get protests and riots on the news, it's a snowball effect.
Right.
And more people want to get into it. But you don't see the, gee, I live a quiet, boring life. That doesn't snowball. And so that's where everything gets crazy.
That's a good point. That's actually a very good point. So, also, I have to let you know, in case this cuts out, we're going to pick off from where we left off. Sure. So if that makes any sense. Guys, also do me a favor while you're on here. Hit the like button if you don't mind, or the thumbs down, whatever makes you happy. It's all the same, but it helps with the algorithm. Nate and Prepper Nerd, thank you for the donation. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you very, very much. So, what is your biggest fear in the prepping world? Pretty sure it's politically connected, but
okay. Well, no, actually, I can give you that's a real easy one. I've mentioned on my channel numerous times. My wife is from the former Soviet Union. Okay. And so she knows bread lines and everything like that. She grew up as a little girl with all of this. And my biggest fear, by far, is not having food for her. That by far is my biggest fear.
Okay.
Not being able to provide a meal for her each night.
So then I take it you're squared away with your food preps.
No.
Do you have a garden?
2,100 square feet of it.
It's a big ass garden.
There's 4 of them.
Oh shit! Okay. I mean, I'm bad at math, but I'm doing the apartment. I'm using the apartment as measurement. I'm like, that's huge. That's probably bigger than the apartment, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
wow.
I can at least eat my vegetables. I don't have to buy any vegetables over the summer.
Oh, so do you have a root cellar?
That's actually a video that I'm going to make here shortly on how to do that.
Okay.
The easiest way to make a root cellar without spending a ton of money, take a couple of galvanized trash cans, bury those, fill them with straw, put your potatoes, fill them with straw, put your potatoes, yada, 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 put some straw over the top, and there's your root cellar.
No shit.
Yep.
Wow. All right. I didn't know that. So, I have to ask you this. What is your opinion on COVID?
Okay, it is real. I'm not one of these conspiracy theorists that thinks it's not. I think it's way overblown. And again, my point on this is, why are we freaking out over something that 99.6% of the population survives from? Okay. Yeah. I am a firm believer in the fact that it goes back to Rahm Emanuel and never let a crisis go to waste. And they're looking at COVID around the world. You saw Italy today announce their shutdowns now. So you've got Spain, France, Italy, Bulgaria, Germany, England, all in some sort of shutdown. And I'm a firm believer that the left is trying to use this as a way to crash their economies so that the U.S. has to bail them out. And that's where you get the redistribution of wealth, which is otherwise known as the Great Reset.
Okay, I didn't look at it from that angle, but all right. Holy shit. Yeah, listen, I agree. I think COVID is real. It's not a thought. We've been here in New York City dealing with it, being a frontline worker. We see it, and the amount of people that died from it, that's the more troubling part, because I don't know why so many people died from it when now looking at it they shouldn't have. Like, I don't know. I mean, listen, I'm talking shit because I'm not a politician. I'm not a doctor. I'm only a fireman and a CFRD fireman. So but we've seen enough people die from it. But I've also seen a lot of people, including the wife and kids, catch COVID, and it was just that. It was it was the flu times 2. If that makes any sense,
right.
But
it's stupid decisions that the reason that people are dying. I mean, you guys are living it there with Cuomo and the nursing homes,
right?
I mean, that's got to go classic as the dumbest political decision ever. But I'm sorry, he's got 11,000 bodies worth of blood on his hands from that. So, and
yet he blames Trump. So,
of course, everything's Trump's fault.
Yeah, no, right? A meteor falls out of the sky right now. They're going, well, why didn't Trump fund NASA so they could detect it? It's always something. It's always. So, what is your So now you said that you believe that COVID's real, but it's overblown. What do you think is going to come from this second wave?
Well, like I just said, with all of Europe shutting down, one of two things. Depends on who wins this election. Okay, we're probably not going to know tomorrow. We might, but when we know, if Trump wins, you're going to probably see shutdowns on a granular scale, I guess, if you will. Mayors and governors are going to shut down their cities and states. Okay, right. If Biden wins, he's going to shut the whole damn thing down. And that's what I see the biggest problem out of what's coming up with who wins tomorrow. Is how do we come out of this? Do we want to destroy the economy totally, or are we going to destroy it piece by piece?
So, sort of like either way we lose.
Well, again, there's more on the ballot tomorrow than just the president. So
true, very true. Now I'm sorry. I'm looking at some of the comments. Sometimes, like, one or two catches your eye, and you want to address it, but you can't. At least not during the interview. So. What is the difference for you, right? What the difference for you between urban prepping and suburban prepping?
Wow, that's a deep question. They're miles apart, okay? Especially with what you've got going on or what I've got going on. You can't own anything more than a 3-inch knife or something like that.
In theory,
I can own anything I want. Unless you can do the whole building of your apartment there and put a garden up there, you can't garden the way I can garden. Yeah. God knows you can't raise livestock unless you can eat the rats in New York. So the worst case. So they're night and day. And as much as everything you talk about and I talk about, what's pertinent for me is not necessarily pertinent for you, and vice versa, because we live in a complete different atmosphere.
We definitely do. That's a good. I like the answer. That's a good answer. Someone just said that I've been hearing reports throughout the week that certain YouTube channels have been getting deleted. And for example, my last two. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I've had subscribers tell me, hey, I got kicked out and I came back.
Right.
But at least before we started, I was still there.
Well, no, you'll be fine. It seems like the bigger you go, and if you are a Trump supporter, you're definitely getting deleted. I've had probably today 30 people tell me that they will unsubscribe to me. And one guy even not went as far, but one guy said, well, I just got a notification for a video you did 6 days ago. So I'm like, either YouTube's playing a shitty game or YouTube's having a problem and they're not addressing it, or they're not telling us what the problem is. Because I've also been unsubscribed from photography channels, right? And what are photography channels talking about? They're talking about taking pictures. You know, they're not talking about what we're talking about. So YouTube's definitely got an issue going on. I just don't know, you know, what it is. And Jesus Christ, my King. YouTube is shadow banning. What they do is they take a lot of the comments, because I don't delete any of the comments, and a lot of the YouTubers I know don't. They end up in a file called spam, or likely spam file, and I have to go into that file and release a lot of the comments. So just keep that in mind, guys, when you're writing something out on anyone's page or channel. Sorry, be careful of the keywords you use, because you know they could delete your comment and put it in a different comment section. So just keep that in mind. So I take it you own firearms.
Yeah.
What is your favorite?
What's the situation you just put me in?
Oh shit! Full on attack at your house.
Okay, are they outside or inside?
Okay. Oh, this is getting interesting.
I mean, the different tool for everything you need.
That is true.
They're coming up the front yard or whatever, my AR and heartbeat.
Okay.
If they're in my house, it's either my shotgun or my CZ. That's it.
Oh, okay. There you go. You answered it. So you have 3 favorites, roughly. Your favorite handgun?
Oh, that's definitely my CZ. CZ SPO1.
Okay. Roger that. So, do you have an EDC kit?
Yes. And it's still your very basics. I mean, it's, you know, there's not a whole lot that you're going to carry, but I mean, it's if something happens, and for example, I get injured of some sort, you know, that's basically it. It's I don't have a get home bag because I work from home, so my get home bag is getting from the living room to the kitchen.
Gotcha.
You know, I don't think we can do that. But you know, if I'm going to the grocery store or something like that, yeah, I've got an EDC.
Do you have a bug out bag?
Yes.
All right, now.
Chances of me bugging out are next to none. But the only reason I'm bugging out from the house is if the house burns down. That's it. Other than that, I'm here. This is where everybody's coming, not leaving.
Gotcha. All right, so you answered like 3 questions in one. So let's see this. Oh, and I'd like to hear this answer. What is your prediction for the rest of the year? You sort of gave a small part earlier.
Yeah, I kind of covered these in the videos. I did the 2, what if Trump wins and what if Biden wins.
Right.
I think no matter what happens tomorrow, as they start calling states, once it gets dark tomorrow night, then all hell starts breaking loose. It's going to be small, but you know, we've already seen, you know, the walls going up around the White House. You've seen them boarding up cities all over the place. So everybody's predicting you're going to have riots starting tomorrow. They're going to get bigger, quicker, especially if Trump wins, because the left is just going to completely lose their collective minds. If Biden wins, I think things might actually calm down a little bit for about 6 months. And then once you have the economy crash and everything, and then they start trying to go after the Second Amendment, raise your taxes, that's when all hell's going to break loose from the other side.
That's yeah, and that's the crazy thing. I don't understand why anybody's going to vote for a guy who outright said, "I'm going to raise your taxes," and then we're like,
yeah,
like taxes are not high enough. But people, you know, the crazy thing is, Biden can say whatever he wants to say, and people will be like, "Yeah, man, yeah, you can raise our taxes. You know what? You can take my firstborn as long as you get that man out of the White House." That's how the left is thinking. And that's their only thing they're campaigning on is, I mean, because Biden can't offer anything to the country at all. No.
You know, I'm going to raise your jobs. I'm going to raise your taxes, and I'm going to take your jobs away. No, you know, hey, where do I sign up for that?
Yeah.
The only thing they've got to go on is, you hate Trump, vote for me. And I can't see enough people going, yeah, you know what? I want higher taxes, and I want to lose my job. So I'm going to vote for you. I can't see enough people doing it.
You know what? I mean, I hate to say it, but my thing with this election is I think Trump might lose, only because come hell or high water, they're looking to get him out, and they might cheat, but nonetheless, he might wind up losing. And I also don't want to be too cocky about it. Like, he is. He's about as cocky right now as Hillary was, and then she lost. And, and that's the thing. And listen, if he wins, great. But maybe it's because I'm tainted with these asshole New Yorkers and their hate for Trump. Maybe that's why I'm thinking he's going to lose. I have seen a lot of Trump rallies, and I'm like, Trump rallies, all those people there, he's got to win, right? I mean, like, you look at Biden's rallies, you got 8 people, 3 cars, and then, that's it.
Well, if you know the details on the Trump rallies, because, I mean, if you've ever been to one, okay, I've been to one in the past. It was in Salt Lake City last election.
Right.
But when you go in, they take your name, your phone number, everything like that, and, registered Republican, Democrat, or whatever. And Trump averages around 30% of the people that come to his rallies are Democrats, registered Democrats.
No kidding.
Now, granted, there's some entertainment factor in there, and of course you always have some of the hecklers in there.
Right.
But I can't think when you've got 25,000 people at a rally that 8,000 of them went in to go heckle. Those are 8,000 people that are going, I want to hear what this guy says because he might, I might want to vote for him.
Yeah, listen, and you're right. And the thing is, I'm just, like I said, I'm worried about the cheating. I think that's a little more prevalent than him losing outright. Just because, again, I mean, look what we're seeing, and we're seeing these ballots pop up out of nowhere, guys.
The story in Texas, what came down in Texas today? Some guy was found, I guess it was sometime last week or whatever, was found with 170,000 ballots in his car. Okay? Now, you can't ballot harvest, but 170,000 ballots. The GOP sued to make sure that those ballots weren't counted. The federal judge said, no, those are valid ballots. So we already know that the Texas is going to the Supreme Court over those.
Right.
Here's my question on that. How long would it... You're in New York. There's, 7 million people in the city?
Yeah, roughly. 7, 9 million, yeah.
Okay. How long would it take you to talk to 170,000 people and collect their ballots from them? It's not physically possible.
Sure.
So the only way that could have been done is if there's a room somewhere with 60, 70 people filling out ballots left and right and just piling them in envelopes and giving them to this guy to take to go drop off. That's the only way it could possibly be done. There's no way those can be legitimate ballots because a single person could not collect that many.
Right. So there you go. Cheating. Cheating has begun, Wow. I mean, listen, I don't know, man. The cheating thing is just my worry, because if this just happened in Texas and Texas or whoever it was try to get rid of those ballots and the judge said no, whose side is the judge on, right?
Right. Well, the judge isn't supposed to be on anybody's side. He's supposed to follow the law, but we know how that works.
Jesus Christ. All right. I mean, and whatever. It's just going to piss me off. So let's move on. So we are at the halfway point. Yes, we are. We're at the halfway point. And we are in the next 10 minutes, I guess, or maybe sooner, take questions from everyone on here. So, all right. So let's finish these up.
Right.
So this question. There's no right or wrong answer to this question. If you come across a obvious prepper stash during a grid down scenario, you're bugging out, you're on the road a week, you're halfway through your preps, not all the way through, your food and water, that is, sorry, and you come along and you see this prepper stash there. You kick a rock or some shit and you see the stash there. What do you do? Take it or leave it?
goes back to what I said before, is my wife hungry? If she's hungry, I get her fed. If we're okay and move on, then I leave it. I mean, that's it. That's literally it.
Oh, that's a very straightforward answer. Kevin, thank you for the donation, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks a lot. So, let's go back to this. Kevin Grip, thank you for the donation. Kevin Land, thank you for the donation. 2 Kevins back to back. So let me ask you this question. Your military experience, does that lend anything to prepping?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, one of the questions you ask, you always ask is, what's your favorite weapon or whatever, like you asked before.
Right.
And actually, the favorite weapon I have is probably my mind, because all the training I got in the military on, defensive postures, on how to do anything, security, whatever, all comes into play in a situation like this. I mean, I feel bad for anybody that comes here, because I've got my yard set up. There's fire zones. I've got everything channeled where there's only one way to come in. I did a video on how to set up tripwires. There's security lighting out there. That's all correctly set up. So I'm literally in a fortress. And that is all from my military training. It's not something that you're going to learn from watching YouTube videos.
Definitely not. And there's a lot of posers out there who watch YouTube videos and they're like, wilderness survival or tactical, Garys or whatever the fuck they're called,
You didn't do 30 seconds in the Cub Scouts, let alone ever serve.
Right. And that's, you know what, and it's funny, like, I mean, the military wasn't my thing. And I never, ever want to say that gig, that job, whatever it was easy. And when I went to Blackwater, at no point in time was I like, man, is this what it was like to be in the military? No, it's not. That was like, Blackwater Training was like Disneyland for adults, for men, that is. That's all it was. It wasn't the time to feel like, the Billy Badass, because I got all this tactical gear, high-speed helmet, look at me, and my EOTechs. And I'm like, God damn it, dude, we're here to train. It's not a fashion show, And guys obviously went there with the whole fashion mambo. But there are a lot of guys who also pose just because they worked in Blackwater. They have no special forces background or no military background, and they think that that's it. That title, Blackwater employee, gets them the pass, And
I mean, I have no special forces training or anything like that, not by a long shot. I mean, there's a million and one things I could learn. I did go through SEER training, but I mean, that's there. There's certain, not everybody in the military is special forces or whatever it is. I mean, hell, there's only less than 5% of them are actually combat people. I mean, the majority of people are support of some sort.
Right.
But everybody learns how to fire weapons. I mean, what I did, because obviously in the 80s and the 90s, with the exception of Desert Shield, and not a whole lot of Czechs were in Kuwait, so there wasn't any reason for me to go. I mean, I spent my time down on the border, down in El Paso, training the FBI and the DEA, and we'd set out with ground surveillance radar, GSR, catching drug smugglers come across the border. So that was what I spent 2.5 years down there doing, was catching drug smugglers.
Okay.
That's the training I got. Okay, how do you deal in nighttime operations? It's not special forces. I'm not storming a room killing Osama bin Laden, but could I clear a room? Not nearly as well as most people, but probably better than some.
That's and that's a good answer, actually. I like that. You gave a realistic answer. That's what it is. It's because listen, I run a group here in New York City, and here in New York City it's a group called NYC Preppers Network, and I've had people over the time tell me, "Yo, I'm in the military. I can help you train you guys." I'm like, "All right, this isn't. We're not GI Joes, man. We're just prepping for hurricanes and shit like that. That's a tactical shit here in New York City is a little intimidating to these fucking pansies out here." But nonetheless, I had a lot of military guys, and I would ask them what their MOS was or what their job was, And those who were admins would, like, they would try to dress it up, and there was another term they used, and I was like, "Oh, you're an admin," and they would look at me like, "Oh, well, how the hell you know that?" Like, because I work with a ton of dudes who are in the military,
Right.
I know most of the jobs, I know what people are capable of, and just because you're in the military, that's when I started learning. Just because you're in the military doesn't mean you're a know-it-all in tactical
Right.
anything, right?
Exactly.
But again, what you did, that's an entirely different ballgame. That's not tactical, but that's still a very, very valuable person to have in your team. Because remember, you ever watch The Walking Dead?
Hmm?
Remember the questions they used to ask everybody before they let them in the group? It's like 3 questions: how many people you killed, how many zombies you killed.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I never really thought about it too much, but yeah, okay.
Right. So along that line, you would be the person that would do that kind of interrogation. Like you would, we'd find somebody on the road, and I'd be like, Pinball, talk to this dude.
Yeah.
And you,
Yeah. Where
right?
did you come from? What have you seen? Okay, there was a group of people here. How many people were there? Okay, what kind of weapons did they have with them? What was the age of the people? What kind of condition were they in? Were they slow? Were they all hopped up? Whatever it would be. You don't know what's out there.
Right.
So gathering intelligence is what you're trying to do.
Right, exactly. And that's the kind of person, that's the kind of value you bring to a group. And there's not a lot of people that bring that value, but nonetheless, it brings. Listen, a guy in the infantry, in the Marine Corps infantry, he brings value to the group. Especially if he has combat experience, right? A guy who worked in the water filtration unit in the Army, or if I don't know if the Marines have it, but I know the Army has it. He has value because he knows how and where to find water and how to filtrate. So yes, guys in the military do bring something to the table, but when you try to bring it like you're the Billy Badass, that's my issue with it.
Every one of us wasn't Rambo. I mean, I never saw combat or anything like this. Any guy who was 11 Bravo is going to know a hell of a lot more about field maneuver tactics than I am.
Right. And right, and you would know that, and then you would set them in certain places. A couple of you guys kept saying "pogue." No, that is not the term he used, but that was a term I wanted to use, but I don't because I'm not military. It's weird. I don't use certain military lingo, even though I know it, because I don't know. It's weird. I don't reserve the right to use it. If that makes any sense. So you answered this question, but I'm curious if you can elaborate on it. You said that you wouldn't leave your house. You wouldn't bug out unless you had something major happen, like a fire. What would be another situation where you would bounce? Leave?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe if the Chinese were coming up the other side of the mountain. I mean, literally, I'm out in the middle of nowhere. Okay. There's not really anywhere else to go. I mean, if the house burned down, yeah, okay. I mean, I'd still pitch a tent here or whatever, but I've got pretty much everything I need, from the ability to provide food and water, the ability, I can make shelter. That's not a big deal. And I've got security, enough security set up just because of my distance from society.
Okay. Wow. All right. So then you're digging in pretty much. Even if your house burns down, you're probably not leaving your land.
No, probably not, because I can pitch a tent here and rebuild something. At least I can build myself some sort of lean-to or whatever, get myself some shelter before I can chop down some trees and build at least a little box to stay in to keep us out of the elements. The other side to remember too is, where I am. I mean, Tennessee. Okay, it's not Florida where it's warm all the time, but with some blankets and something, I'm not, even in the middle of January, I'm not going to freeze to death outside.
Okay. All right. Very good. Somebody just answered the question for me. I said that I'm not sure if the Marine Corps has a water filtration unit, and someone answered that. So thank you, whoever you were. I forgot your name. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Tony Elbows asked what a ghillie suit was. Can somebody answer him, please? Yeah, somebody answer that question for me. Thank you, guys. All right, so prepping for 2 years. Were there any mistakes you made, or
Not prepping for 3 years.
not? Okay, very good. I like that.
Not starting earlier, because I mean, by only doing it for 2 years, obviously it gets expensive to try to ramp up real fast.
Yeah, it does.
You know, you see a lot of the channels talk about, yeah, every time you go to the grocery store, buy a couple extra cans of this, and before you know it, yeah. And I'm going, okay, when I go to the grocery store, I'm gonna buy a couple extra cases of this.
And see, and that's the thing. Well, again, that's income, right? You can afford the couple of cases. Mary Sue in the middle of fucking Kentucky somewhere. She's got to only buy the one or two. But I do that too. I mean, I go shopping. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna buy this, and it's like a little list, right? And I leave and I bought $300 worth of shit, and I'm like, damn it, I did it again, But should we need it?
I'm really happy you have it.
Right. So that is a good thing about. I mean, I guess that's the one upside about getting carried away. Sometimes is you left with more than you wanted to leave with. But in this day and age,
I saw the picture today. John over at Prepper Nation put a picture that one of his subscribers posted of Walmart, and literally the place was bone dry. There was nothing. I mean, meat counter empty, nothing.
Yeah.
This was a picture that somebody took today. So yeah, it sucked having to spend all that money so fast, but I'm sure as hell glad I did.
Wow. Shit. And somebody did send me a picture a week ago. One of the viewers, and I'm like, and they said it was in Pennsylvania, which is close. And I'm like, shit, man. I mean, it's working its way, like, I guess, down to us. The cities are usually the last place to see it because we're so heavy in population, and if I'm not mistaken, a lot of the big city stores get preference over the smaller stores. That's how it was explained to me to a guy that, again, the same guy I spoke to in the supermarket in Liberty.
Logistically, it makes sense because
Right.
the truck doesn't have to drive 40 miles from one store to the next. It's like, okay, I go 3 blocks and I'm at the next store to drop everything.
Right, exactly. So, I'm pretty sure you have a homestead, but what to you is the difference between a prepper and a homesteader?
I don't have a homestead because I'm not completely self-sufficient. I'm not off the grid. Okay. I've got a generator and everything for if power goes out. I can keep refrigerators, going or whatever. But I don't have a solar system. I would love to get them. That is eventually on my list of things to do. But I think the biggest difference between a prepper and a homesteader is completely self-sufficient. I don't have any livestock. That takes that away. I'm still reliant on the city for power. I'm not reliant for water or anything. But the difference between me, I'm a prepper, kind of going toward the homesteader. But a homesteader's got to be totally self-sufficient, and I'm not there.
All right. I mean, hell, you're probably ahead of everyone else who's trying to get there, right? I'm pretty sure you're better than halfway there anyway. I think a garden.
I'm trying.
Okay, very good. All right, so we are at the 43-minute mark, and someone asked, well, this question was, I guess, aimed towards me, but hopefully you can answer it as well. Prepper 101 asked, do you think if there is violence, will it be widespread or isolated as it has been so far this year?
Right now, for the next month or so, I say it stays isolated. I think the only way I think it gets widespread is if Biden wins, and that's 6 months from now. I think if it's Trump, it stays isolated to the bigger cities, and I think it stays isolated to the liberal-run cities.
Okay. Right, that's probably what I was going to say. I think it's going to stay isolated. Widespread would have to be, again, like you said, Trump winning and the left not letting it go and, forcing their win on America by trashing, burning, beating people up because they didn't like the results they got. I think I mean, we saw how they reacted when Trump won the first time. The crying in the stands, the screaming when he was getting inaugurated, right? So it's I can't believe the left and the stupidity that or we are seeing is just enough. All right, so Tony Elbows asked, "What do you guys think about Gray Man?"
You better learn those skills real fast, okay? Because you need them tomorrow. I just did a video on this one. You need to be the Gray Man going to vote tomorrow, because you don't want anybody knowing that, as I said in my video, you don't want to be wearing red. You don't want to be wearing blue. You don't want to tip anybody off which way you're voting. No MAGA hats, no flag in the back of your truck, no bumper sticker on the back of your car, because I think it's 200 yards that you can't campaign with, from a polling station. I guarantee you at 201 yards, they're there. Okay? You don't want anybody to know who you're voting for. You want to get in, be very quiet, head down, shut up, go in, vote, get out, take the long way home so nobody can follow you, and close the door, lock the door, and that's it. Okay? You need, tomorrow is when you're going to be using your Gray Man skills. You do not want to be drawing attention to yourself at all tomorrow, whichever side you're voting for.
And you're right. Unfortunately, though, I think Gray Man for some people is not obtainable. Because Gray Man, I think, for example, if my 270-pound frame walks into, let's say, an old neighborhood, with old people, we have something called Geriatric City, right? Over there, if I was to walk in a neighborhood, I would stand out like a sore thumb. Right now, I go down into the city here in Harlem. I might blend in, I might not. My frame is just easy, as my wife says, it's easy to pick out in the crowd. All right, so I would have a problem blending in, but the average person usually doesn't. Like I said, usually doesn't, unless you have a characteristic that stands out.
But here's the other caveat to that. Is being a Gray Man just isn't only your appearance. It's also your demeanor, and it's also how you talk. You go into the old neighborhood and say to somebody, yeah, I'm with FDNY, and all of a sudden you're Gray Man. Okay? Now nobody's looking at you different at all.
Very true. That is true. You're right about that. See, this is why I like to pick people brains, because I didn't look at it that way. So thank you. Kevin Land, thank you for the donation again. I appreciate it. Isn't Kyle? No, I'm not going to ask that question. Be ready today. Thank you for the donation, man. I appreciate it. Again, guys, thank you for the donation. If you guys do not have it to give, please don't give it. Please save your money and again, put it towards your preps. It's at the rate this year is going. Who the hell knows what's going to happen? Now, I have to ask you this question. What do you think 2021 is going to bring?
Again, depends on who wins tomorrow. I mean, everything kind of hinges on the election.
Okay.
I don't think COVID's going away. Okay. I don't think that lockdowns are going away. I think at least through spring, we're gonna probably see lockdowns in a couple of weeks. We're gonna probably be locked down till spring. Okay. What happens after that is kind of anybody's guess, because if we're locked down for 4 or 5 months, the economy's toast.
Yeah.
So, that's a crystal ball question.
Well, I love those crystal ball questions. Makes people think.
Mine's in the shop, so I'll answer the question when it comes back.
Never blend in, not have. Yeah, SC Prepper just said she never blends in. Like I said, it's not probably for everyone. I'm late, high AP and high PP. Joyce just joined us. But listen, I mean, that's the same thing. I'm just like, you know what? I sort of don't care what 2021 is going to bring, because whatever happens, I'm just going to adapt and pivot to it. I don't want to sit there and be like, oh my God, what am I going to do if this guy wins it? It's not much we can do, I mean, listen.
Some traits that way.
Right, exactly. It's why I'm just like, fuck it, man. Whatever happens, happens, and I will deal with it as it comes. Prepper Nation said total chaos. I hope not. I know another lockdown. Yeah, Van Cult said another lockdown. Another lockdown is going to fuck a lot of shit up. So we're definitely going to feel that pain for sure. And as far as adapting to that, that's going to be a rough one. I think if we go on another lockdown, and if we go on another lockdown before the holidays, I think we're truly going to be fucked because we're going to see a huge number or an uptick in suicides if we lock down during the holidays. So I'm hoping anything that happens, I just hope they do the lockdown after the New Year's, and then whatever happens happens. But if it happens before, the amount of suicides we're going to see is not going to be fun. There were a few suicides during this whole COVID shit here in New York. I don't know about anywhere else, but I know it didn't get bad, but there was just noticeable suicides here. Not that it was a lot. If that makes any sense.
I think with the lockdowns, if they start implementing it, you're going to have a whole lot more of what you had happen up in Michigan, where you got people basically storming the state house. I don't think the public is going to stand for another lockdown.
No matter which side you stand on, I think people are fed up with the bullshit. Listen, I'm sort of like, maybe because I can get out and go to work, and I'm not on lockdown because I'm a what you call a first responder. Right. I guess it doesn't affect me like it affects other people. Maybe that's why I don't. Not that I what am I saying? I care about the lockdown because I see what it's doing to other people. I see how it's affecting other people. But I just, me personally, I'm just like, okay, if we go to another lockdown, I know what's at stake, and that's why I'm not for it. But I do like the no traffic in the streets. Yeah, that's the only upside to the lockdown, man. The no traffic was insane. It was like you could walk in the middle of the street and not have to worry about a car running you over, or you could just drive to work and there was no one on the roads, But there was also times when you were driving, you wanted to go somewhere and you couldn't because it was closed down, right? So that's the ups and downs with being shut down. Okay, so whatever it takes, do you think fitness is important if shit hits the fan?
Absolutely.
Right?
If you're fat and lazy, eating candy bars and bonbons, laying on a couch all day, you're roadkill. Okay? I mean, you're going to have to get out and work. I mean, whether it's planting gardens and cutting firewood, pick whatever it is. I mean, if shit hits the fan, you're back to working like the pioneers did, where it's the sun's up, you're out working, stop and eat, back to work until the sun goes down and you collapse and go to sleep, turn around and do it all over again.
Exactly. And that's what annoys me with people when it comes to fitness is they first of all, I have to tell everyone on here, fitness does not mean you need to lift 225 pounds above your head. It doesn't mean you need to do a 100-pound dumbbell row. It just means you need to be fit enough to do the task at hand. That's it. So if you need to start walking more, run on the street, treadmill, eat less, lose weight, whatever it is, that's fitness. Fitness is not, what we see on Instagram, the 6-pack abs and the guy with the fucking nice coiffed, that's not fitness. That's a model. Fitness
means going to get the mail without breaking a sweat.
That too. Right.
There's a start.
Or tying your sneakers and not, being out of breath, right?
Right.
So my wife is on here, which, by the way, she's in the next room. It's not like, she's not in Canada or anything. But she's talking about we were talking about lockdowns, and her co-worker in Switzerland said that they were going on lockdown today. And other countries are going on lockdown. So what does that mean? That means we're undoubtedly going to see it. Listen, even if Trump wins, I think he's talking shit. I think that at some point he's going to be pressured to lock us down. Because I think he was pressured the first time. And I think lockdowns like this shitty mayor is doing, which I have to agree with him on. He did the lockdown here in New York City. He's doing it by zip codes. So he didn't do what he did the first time where he said, fuck it, everyone shut down. He's doing it by zip codes, keeping the economy intact. So that's, I think that's a really good way of handling it. Though I can care less if this guy fell down a flight of stairs tomorrow. But you know, it's a good way of tackling it. You know. So, any more question, guys? We are actually doing good. We're at the 55-minute, and it feels like it was only half an hour. So that's pretty good. Guys, also I'm giving a shout out and thank my moderators. My moderators are doing good. Prepper Now, last live stream, he was by himself. He was like fending for his life on here. It was pretty interesting to see. He did really good. So, you know, give a shout out to him as well. Also, guys, following channels. Be Ready Today, Prepper Now, North Shore Preparedness, Prepper Nation, Julian Prepping for Life, or Adrian Julian Prepping for Life, sorry. Head over to their channels and like and subscribe. Prepping Outside the Box, he's also floating around on here somewhere. Head over to his channel as well. And obviously, head over to Pinball Preparedness' channel and like and subscribe. A lot of you guys seen how he is, how calm he is, and how much sense he makes. This is another prepper you guys should be following. We are trying to get all of us together and somewhat not on the same page, because we all cannot agree with each other. That's for damn sure. We are not built to agree with each other, but we are built to help one another out. That's it, right? So, guys, again, head over to their channels and like and subscribe to it. I have a couple of more people coming on here, by the way. There's a young lady called Me Being Cheap. I was directed to her channel. Yeah, first of all, the name was like eye-catching. I was like, holy shit, she's a cheapskate. What it is, she's not a cheapskate, but she preps with minimal money, or teaches you how to prep with minimal money. Right, Andrew Julian, Prepping for Life. Thank you, Van Colt. It's Andrew Julian. I can never remember his name right. All I know is Prepping for Life. But Andrew Julian, Prepping for Life, head over to his channel, like and subscribe. He will be on the channel in the coming weeks, guys. And because, you know, again, I like what I hear from him. Everyone that's been on the channel, I've liked what they've offered on their channels. That's the only reason why they're on here. Other than that, you know, I wouldn't entertain them. So Me Being Cheap is November 10th. And Financial Prepper, he'll be on November 12th. Financial Prepper is pretty cool. So stay tuned for both of those. And there was one more. Oh, Prepper Nurse 1 will also be on here November 16th. Yeah, I spoke to him last night. We were on the phone for an hour and like 20 minutes. And this was like at midnight. So we got off the phone around like 1, you know. So it was a very, very good phone call. And can't wait to have him on here. Pretty much like I can't wait to have most of the people, not most, all of the people I invite on here. I haven't had anybody on here that I was like, shit, I got to interview this dude, you know. I haven't had one of those yet. And I hope I never do. TJ Preps. Guys, anybody who knows TJ Preps, can you have him contact me, please? Everyone keeps... Say again?
TJ Preps is female.
Oh, that's a chick? All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Have her contact me. Thank you. I didn't know that. You know, her name popped up so many times over the last couple weeks.
Great channel.
Well, I got to head over there and like subscribe to that thing. I'm going to take everyone's word for it that she's good, and then so be it. So whoever knows her, please have her contact me. Thank you. Kevin Land, again, thank you for the donation. Okay, I thought he was asking a question, but he wasn't. All right. So, guys, we are at the 1 hour mark. If there's no more questions, we're going to wrap it up. And this won't be the last time you see Pinball Preparedness on this channel, by the way. We will be doing a like a prepper round table, if you will, and we'll start we'll start bringing everyone back that I interviewed, but 3 at a time. So that is 3 or 4 of us on at the same time. Someone said interview Rosie O'Donnell. No. Okay.
I won't be showing up for that one.
Yeah, you know what? I think people would, just to see how, because I would try to antagonize her, just not antagonize her, just over all the shit she said over the years. Whatever it takes. I'm 5'10", roughly. Maybe I'm shorter these days. Who knows? But yeah, I'm 5'10". How tall are you?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm 6'8". I'm 6'8", 290.
I knew you were tall. I mean, just the way you sit. I'm like, he's got to be a tall dude. 6'8". Jesus. Yep. So I'm a short midget compared to him. Tony Elbows, thank you for the donation. I appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot. Okay. What do you hope to survive? So someone asked me a question. What do I hope to survive? Fuck, I don't know what that even means. Life? The next 6 weeks? I don't know. Like, you just try to stay out of harm's way. That's all I'm trying to do.
All right, I keep seeing the same question come up over and over. There's only one thing I could prep. What would it be? Water. Period.
Water is it. Water is key, especially if you live in the city, guys. Water is hard to come by. If you don't know where to find it, which I'm going to do a video on in the next week or two, on where you can find water in the city, where you can find, fresh spring water in the city. I'm going to do a video on that in the next couple weeks. Other than that, let's see. Please don't interview. Prepper Now is like, please don't interview Rosie. All right. Do you date guys shorter than you? Oh. Okay, that wasn't for me. That was for somebody else. Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I just told him I was fucking married, but he directed that to somebody else.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't to us. It was to another female. Hopefully she didn't see it. All right, guys. Listen, if that's it, Chris, thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. Chris A, to be exact. Thank you for the donation. If that's it, guys, we are going to wrap it up. I'm sorry. Before we wrap it up, someone keeps asking ham radio with a question mark. You know anything about ham radios?
Yeah. The fact of I'd rather have two-way radios than ham radios.
Okay.
Because you can't practice with a ham radio unless you go get the license. And I think you were saying on the last interview, somebody had to go 300 miles or whatever to go get the license. You can listen to it all you want, but communication is a two-way thing, and unless you know how to use it to communicate out, it's useless to you. So.
Right. And you're absolutely right about that. What about CB radios? I heard no one's using it anymore.
Definitely at place. But for me, I mean, they'd be useless. I'm 8 miles off a main road, and unless I've got one hell of an antenna on the house, I'm not getting traffic out there. So, again, communication, you want to pretty much limit to your mags, and that's why I'm a proponent of two-way radios, because obviously that's a relatively secure channel. But, I mean, other than that, if you're trying to get information from the outside, that's where you need your little handheld crank radio to pick up whatever radio station, that you can get broadcast. CBs have their place, but, again, depending on where you are. Where you are could come very much in handy. Where I am, not so much. And, again, that's what we talked about before, situational differences.
Right. Okay. You see, that's why I like having people who know comms. I know shit about comms. I'm like the worst. People ask me, what radio should I get? I'm like, the one where you can talk to somebody, because that's about as good as I am with radios. Mike Chase, thank you for that. He just said ham radio license exams are online now. I thought I saw that, and thank you for bringing that. Could you do me a favor? Could you email me the online classes, because I'll take it, I'll study and take it in the next couple of weeks, because I do want one. I hate ham radio operations and all that stuff, but I see that it might be a necessity. So thank you, guys. All right, guys. So that's going to be it for tonight. Thank you for joining us. Pinball Preparedness, thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining us as well. And thanks to my moderators that are out there. And if Maverick, my son, is still on, thank you for helping out with the chat tonight. And my wife, thank you for helping out with the chat tonight. All right, guys. Again, head over to Pinball Preparedness' YouTube channel and like and subscribe to it. I guarantee you guys are going to like it. That's, if you weren't listening to this whole interview, you guys are definitely going to like his channel. All right, guys. Thank you and good night.
Night all.